Today we are going to be building this simple copper golem multi-item sorter. Unlike simple golem sorters like this, where the golem will place items into this chest, our system is expandable, meaning we can take the items from the sorted section and move them to wherever we want. Now that functionality is really important to me because it means I can design my front end to look however I want. You want to have as few constraints as possible with how your system looks, and the system itself is modular and infinitely expandable, so you can build your sorters however you want and as large or as small as you want. Each module can have up to 9 different filter chests. Feel free to modify them to your needs. It's as simple as deleting or adding slices to the module. But for this design, we are going to build a module with 8 filter chests. And these are the items you're going to need. Note here that the spruce items are optional. They're used to make this path, which makes accessing the filter chests really easy. And the glass is used to view the copper golems, but this could be any block. So if you already know where you're going to build your sorter, then you could skip to the tutorial. But for instance, if I had a system that looked like this, then this will work up to 9 chests long. The one we're going to build is 8, but you can expand it. So I'm going to go with 8. And then you're going to need 1 block gap before you continue to expand that as well. Then height-wise, you can build this as high as you want. And then for the actual tutorial, you're going to want to build up 3 blocks from the first hopper in your system. And then off this block, you're going to place the first copper input chest right here. And that is going to be the start of the build. So let's get into the tutorial. You're going to want to start this at least 4 blocks in the air. So if we go up 4 temporary blocks, then you can place the starter chest and 2 spruce planks next to it. And this is the input system. Next is the copper golem chamber. We're going to start by placing a glass on that temporary block, then a slab on this side, then on the other side another glass block, and then on top of that another slab, and you can mine up those 2 blocks. Next, attached to this glass block, we're going to place a vine, and this disables the copper golem's hitboxes so they won't collide with each other, and since there's a block here, they won't be able to turn into statues. Next, we can hop down and place 2 chests off the glass block, and then another 2 chests underneath the glass and that first chest. Then we can place a hopper connecting the 2. So this would be 1 slice of our module, and you can expand this up to 9 slices. And then, of course, you can build multiple modules, and those are infinitely expandable. But for this design, we're going to go with 8 slices, so we're going to copy this slice 8 times. Once you have the desired number of slices in your module, place some temporary blocks and place a chest at the same level as this top slab. Then come up behind and place some temporary blocks here, and you can hop down and put hoppers into those temporary blocks. Then you can remove all the temporary blocks. Next, we're going to build the filters, and there's going to be 2 types of filters that are going to alternate every single slice. The first filter is going to look like this. Place a block off of that hopper, and then a comparator greeting the large chest. Next, if you shift click off that comparator, you can place a block, and then another one off of that, and a torch on the end, and 2 redstone on top. Hop down and place a block here, going down 2, and then a block on either side. Add a redstone repeater going into this block, and a redstone dust underneath the torch. This block is not necessary. You can delete it if you want. So this is what slice A should look like. For the second slice, we're going to shift click a block into that chest, then take a transparent block and put it there, and then another solid block here. On top of the transparent block, we want a comparator, so it is facing into that second block. And now we're going to take a temporary block and place 3 solid blocks like this. And then we can place a dust here, and that will go into this torch, which locks that hopper. And this is what that second slice should look like. Now that we have our 2 slices, all we have to do is build those in alternating patterns until you've reached the end of these chests. So I'm going to expand this, and I'm going to do a top-down view of each layer, which might help you if you're building a lot of these. You can build them layer by layer. And that is the bulk of the redstone, so hopefully that wasn't too complicated. Alright, once you have all your filters done, the next part is optional, but I like to go in and place stairs like this. Then cap it off with some spruce planks at the end, and then put spruce doors into those stairs. The reason we need stairs here is because if these were solid blocks, they would power these trap doors, and I like just being able to walk along here or keep them closed so we can walk along the system. Next, we're going to add the copper golems, and this is a little tricky. First, we're going to build some temporary blocks and dig this one so we can have access to the inside, then build up some more temporary blocks till we're this height. Then you can place your piece of copper, and then your pumpkin, and then shears. This will create a chest down there. Then you gotta just break that chest. And the amount of golems you want to add is 1 for every chest in this module, so including the copper chest. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Since only one golem can access each chest at once, you can start getting into diminishing returns once you have one golem for each chest. Using less definitely works if you need to save on resources. Anyway, keep adding a copper, pumpkin, and then shearing that, digging up the chest until you have the desired amount of golems. Then replace that slab you broke, and then you can delete all of the temporary blocks. The final thing to do is set up all of the filter chests. And the way the system works is when these comparators read a signal strength of 2, they will unlock the hoppers below this chest, allowing items to flow out. But right now, these hoppers are locked because they don't have enough items to boost that signal strength. And the amount of items that a chest needs to reach level 2 is 3 stacks and 55 items. So at 3 stacks, 54 items, we're right on the cusp of a signal strength of 2. So any new items we add will immediately get sucked out by the hopper below. So to add filter items to this chest, we're going to take out a filler item and then add the filter item like so. And if you're lazy like me, you can just put this iron nugget thing in the top and then start adding your filters. The iron nuggets will get filtered out of the chest and they'll end up in your storage, but then you can take them out of your storage later. And what's great about this system is you can also add 16 stackable items like so, which equals 4 filler items, and copper golems will even sort unstackables, which you can place here. As long as this stays at 3 stacks and 54 items, everything is good. Just remember that copper golems will place items into the first available slot. So when you're done adding filter items, make sure to move all of those to the bottom. The other thing to keep in mind is although we've renamed these filter items, copper golems will still put iron nuggets and shears into this chest. So the way I would fix that is just to have your first chest in the system be a filter for your filter items. That way, anytime a filter item goes into your sorting system, it will just get picked up by the first chest and it won't interfere with the rest of the system. Alternatively, you can just use items that you know you would never put into the sorting system as your filter items. Now you can add as many 16 stackable or 1 stackable items as you want, but if you want to add more than 3 unstackable items, you're going to run into an issue where the signal strength will be too high. And while there are ways to use different types of filters that read different signal strengths, that's a little outside the scope of this video, so I'll give you one solution, which is if you do want to filter a lot of unstackables, pick a chest on either end where you have access to the comparator. From that comparator, build out 2 blocks next to it, put a comparator here, then on the other side of this comparator, put a double chest. Then for as many unstackables as you have in this chest, you want to have the same amount in this chest plus 1. Now, as you see, if we put in another unstackable that matches, it will get emptied. Next, let's talk about expandability. These copper golems will try and sort items from this input chest into one of your filter chests. If they don't, they will add those items to this empty chest up here. From this chest, this can be the end of your sorting system, or you can add another copper chest here, which will start a new module. And as I said before, these modules are infinitely expandable. If you go around curves or something, then just use hoppers to connect the output chest to the next input chest. Now, if you find the copper golems to be very noisy or you want to be able to turn off the sorting system, we can do that by placing blocks on top of the copper chests. And to be able to toggle the system on and off with redstone, we can do something like this. On top of all these slabs, place a block. Make sure the one over this chest is transparent so the copper golems can still open it. And don't place a block where the copper chest is. I'm just going to do it up to here. Next, over each one of the copper chests, add a temporary block with a piston facing down and then a solid block, and do that for every single one. Finally, make another solid block and put a lever on it, and then above, connect everything up with redstone. And then after your piston, another solid block with a redstone dust, and then a repeater coming out. Now when you flick the switch, the pistons should all go down, which lock these chests and make it a little bit quieter. Maybe you want your sorting system a little bit further away so you don't have to hear all the noise, or you simply have a storage design which does not allow you to put the copper golem sorting system right next to it. Well, one way to move around these items is to dispense them into water streams where they can then get delivered to your sorting system. As you see here, the golems are storing them into this chest, but down below you can see that there is a dispenser that's dropping those items into this water stream where they're flowing across and getting sorted into the respective column. And I'll show you how to do that real quick. So underneath the bottom chests, I'm putting a dropper facing down with a hopper going into it from the back. And then underneath the dropper, I'm putting a powdered snow. You can also use a cobweb, but that basically guarantees that your item will go straight down and won't get fired out to the side and end up in a different water stream. Next to the dropper, place a block and put a comparator next to it. Then a sticky piston facing up, an observer facing in, and on top of this comparator, an observer facing out, like that. This will create an automatic dropper where any items coming in will then be delivered to your system. For this exact water stream, half the items go straight, where the other ones kind of slide along this ice, and I'm using these fence trap doors to block this next water from going along, and so we're going into this S-bend, delivering items to the other side as well. But that's definitely something you can get creative with and configure to your own needs. And finally, if you do have your system far, far away, how do you actually get items to that system? Because you don't want to have your input chest really far away either. Well, to go horizontally is pretty easy. You can just use hoppers. To go downwards, also easy. You can just connect your items with hoppers. And to go upwards, you can use water bubble elevators. All you need is a pipe with a soul sand at the bottom and a dropper pointing into that soul sand. Now behind this dropper, we're going to build the same automatic dispensing system as I just showed, a comparator coming out, a piston in the ground with an observer on top, and then another observer facing, so they're facing into each other. Next, go all the way to the top of your elevator and place a water bucket. Items are going to flow upwards, get to this point, and then you're going to have to collect them in a hopper somehow that goes into the input chest. Put a trapdoor over the source block so that any items don't come up and fly away. And then the final thing to do is go in and place kelp all the way through here to make these solid blocks. You can also just place water sources or bone meal the kelp from the bottom, and then once you dig up all the kelp, the system should work. And you'll get launched up to the top, then make sure that trapdoor is closed, and that is how you can move your items around. So I hope this helps you with your sorting system needs, and yeah, hopefully this tutorial was helpful. Please let me know if I did a good job or not, and if this is something you would actually consider using in your survival worlds. Goodbye!